vi bordet färdigt här. Vi ser. Ta den så, super. Så, och sen gör vi så. Den färdig där. Datorn där då. Okej. Är du redo, Erik? Till att byta? Super, super. Nu ska vi bara hitta mattan så att jag trillar av scenen idag. Så ja. Hello everybody. You know, thank you. A professor once said that the biggest language in the world, no, it's not English. It's bad English. And with that joke, I would like to start my presentation today. English is not my first language, so I hope you have some patience with me today. I will do my best, absolutely. And I'm here today to talk about accessibility. And for me, when I first got the question about to be part of this, I have to sit down a little bit and think, well, am I a part of digital accessibility? Well, I realized I am. And my lecture today is going to be a little bit about me and my, what do you call it, travel from being a person with vision and to deafblindness. But we need to start this lecture with where the beginning is. And the beginning is actually at 1980s. Well, 1890s, then I would be pretty proud to be up here and have a lecture today. But back then, I was born and raised in a little town in southern part of Sweden. And pretty soon, they realized that something wasn't that it's supposed to be. They realized that I have an hearing impairment. And that hearing impairment affected me a lot. And back then, it was a big focus that when you get a hearing impairment, you should be a part of the hearing world. You should be a part of the hearing society. So they laid a huge focus to make me speak well. And getting hearing aids and makes me speak well. I have speak teachers and everything like that. So that's the reason why I can speak so well today, even though I'm deaf. But back then, I did only have a hearing impairment. It sounds not so bad, but well. And later on, my life started in school, and school was a terrible, terrible, terrible place. Because I had to be with hearing kids. And back then, they didn't have this tolerance for kids with a disability. So I had a really, really tough time the first 5 years in ground school. But in the 6th grade, something amazing happens. I started a school called Silviaskolan, after our queen in Sweden. And that is a special school for kids with only hearing impairment. And that was so awesome to start there, because when I was in that school, my life started. Because I wasn't the kid with a disability. I wasn't the kid who didn't hear well. I was Torbjörn. Because at that place, I was one of all anyone. So that made me feel like I'm included. And only by the reason that all the other kids also had hearing impairment. So that was a game changer for me. And then Torbjörn started to grow. And I think we have the first picture of me jumping, so we can go to the next picture. And, well, I needed to be something. I needed to have an education and profession. And you know, you can try to avoid the life at home and what your parents are doing. But my dad was a truck driver. My granddad was a truck driver. My uncle was a truck driver. So it was pretty straightforward where I'm going to be, right? But I really wanted to be this. This was something that I really liked. And from early age, I love to travel with trucks and be a part of the motor world. So that was a passion and a lifestyle for me. So after school, I started to work as a truck driver, and I loved it. I really, really loved that job. But something isn't right. later on, many years from after school, I realized that something isn't right with my vision. There's something wrong with my eyes. And finally, I go to the doctor, and they send me to specialists, and I will go under many exams. And finally, one day at 2012, I sit there right in front of a doctor who had done all these tests and looking in the papers. And he sees me with really, really sour eyes and sadness in them, and tell me, it looks like I have something called retinitis pigmentosa, and I'm going to be blind. That struck me so hard, because, you know, if you live a life before with vision, you know how beautiful this world is. You know how many things that is useful with good eyesight. And to lose that and be aware that I have something called retinitis pigmentosa going to eat up my eyes, that was terrible. It was a horrible time. And I actually thought my life was over. I thought my life was over back then. I thought, how can it be some continuous of this? I'm going to lose my eyesight. But pretty quickly, I realized I have a choice. Either I give up, or either I start to fight. And later on, I realized, well, it isn't a choice. I had a 5-month-old daughter at home. I have a family. I have friends that love me. And I realized, I can't give up. Actually, that's no choice. So I started to fight. But what was I fighting for? Well, I was fighting to find a way to this darkness. I was fighting to find a path that I could continue my life, even though my hearing and eyesight went poorer. So I started to fight for my rights. But the interesting part, now we come to the technology. You change the picture. I complain often about Sweden. I do. I often call Swedes to be a folks disease. I call it that. Yeah, and we have a great society. We do have a great society, but has been some issues lately. How, especially about taking care of people who don't have the same opportunities. But there are some really positive things in this society. Because pretty quickly after I get my diagnosis, I contacted my region, and they gave me some helping aids. And the first helping aids that I ever got was a computer and a reading camera. And I didn't have to pay anything at all. That's cool, right? But hey, I paid the taxes, so okay, well, I did pay it. But that was so awesome. For back then, with my poor eyesight, this was awesome. But later on, I mean, for those who don't know what a reading cam is, it's a device that reads, if you have a letter, you can put it under the camera and they will go up on the display, and then you can change color and size and everything. Really, really awesome when you have poor eyesight. But I realized one thing. I realized that this technology was not so compatible. They have issue with the software because the personal computer I got needed to have extra software to function. And they often crashed and often get stuck. So I needed to send it back for repairman and get quite frustrated because I have these things that's supposed to help me, but it doesn't work so as well I want it. And then I got the tips. Well, and I can't say the company today, but you may notice me. If you can put 1 to 1 together, then you will realize which fruit company. So I will say it's a fruit company, okay? And this fruit company had a really awesome thing because their smartphones and their computers had the availability things, the accessibility things included from the beginning. It was an idea to have it from the start. So you didn't need an application or extra program to get the function that I needed. And that was from the start, and that was so awesome. And later on, when my eyesight went even poorer, I had to take another step into the digital and technology world. I needed to start to learn Braille. And let's see, we have it here. There, so thank you. This device came into my life. This wonderful little thing is called a Braille display. And it works this way. The smartphone and computer have a function called voiceover, the fruit company, okay? And the voiceover works this way as it reads up loud what's on the screen. But I can also connect this one with the smartphone and then get the signal straight to the device, and I will read with the dots getting up here. And I can also write with it. So awesome, and a game changer for me. And all of these things open up a new world for me. It opens up a place that I'll barely be aware of. Because when I lived my life before, my digital knowledge was mostly like, okay, I have an email account. Okay, I have a phone. Okay, I can SMS, text SMS, and call with it. But that was it. I was more focused to drive trucks and live that life, so that wasn't so important for me. But when I get into this world, I realize that this is an amazing place to be, especially for me, that when my life has changed so totally from being a free person to not being such a free person. I can change picture. And the most cool part is the internet, of course. And pretty quickly, I realized some things. I realized that my world has become smaller. So I don't get the opportunity and possibility to go outside and buy things, for example. Well, hell, there's the internet. I can go out on the internet and order the things. I can order them home to my door, to my mailbox. Awesome. I realize also I can do a lot of practical things like doctor appointment and book doctor time and book time for many things. So cool. But the most important thing that starts at this time is the social thing. Because I pretty quickly get isolated. But I realize in internet there's a world of social. It is. And I realize, hey, there are other people with deafblindness, and I can communicate with them. And I can communicate with my friends, and I can be a part of society, okay? Even though it's not real people like you meet a real person, but it's still communication, interaction with other people. And that is so cool, because I see us with deafblindness as islands on a big, big, big ocean. And most of times, we're just being alone, as a lonely island on the ocean. But when I went out on the internet and found these people through social media and stuff like that, we got some bridge between this island. We got the time and a possibility to communicate and learn and know a little bit about each other. So awesome. That is so cool. And I truly appreciate all of this. If I need to summon all this experience and all these things that happen, I need to summon them with these 3 words. Digital accessibility is mainly 3 words for me. Freedom. And the freedom part is that I have the possibility to interact with other people. I have the possibility to do things instead of just sitting and not doing anything or be a part of anything. I actually get freedom from digital world. I get freedom to do things. Independence, and this is important, because when you get a disability, not in all cases, but in my cases, you need so much help from the world surrounding. You need assistance, you need guidance person, you need a deafblind interpreter. I've forgotten to explain what she's doing here, but I'll tell you later. She's not my bodyguard, okay? And I do not own her money or anything like that. But that means that you are so depending on other people. And when you get the possibility to actually do things for yourself and not needing any person to help you, wow, that is huge. That is so important for your self-esteem to be doing things without needing anyone else to help. That is really important. For me, it is. Opportunities. Because I realize in the world of internet and digital era, there are opportunities, there are possibilities. And the first thing I do after I get my diagnosis so many years ago, I started a blog. I wanted to write about my life. I wanted to tell what's happening in my life. And bam, I get contacted to have a lecture like today. That wouldn't even be happening if I didn't went out on the internet, if I just sat home and did nothing. So there was a great bit of opportunity also with this freedom. And we will come back to that word again, but we need to talk a little bit more about freedom. Because freedom is many things. And one great thing with these opportunities is that you start to get interested in this world, you get curious, and you would like to find, are there more things that I can get to make my freedom even bigger? And then I realized there's a world of helping aids that can actually help you to get more freedom. And sometimes you can find things that aren't supposed to be for me as a deafblind person, like this one. This is called Haptic. This is actually a gaming thing, a gaming device. This is only one part. You can have two on the arm, and then you can have a huge vest on you. You can have a cap, a hat, and gloves. And all of these are, have a vibration motor inside. You know, like the telephone, when you get the text message and it vibrates. These motors are inside these, so many, and on the vest. And we found out this was for a game. So when you play a TV game and you get shot in a TV game, you felt here. Then your vibration came here and you felt you get shot here or here. But we realized there were also a smart function to this one. There was an application on the phone. And the application had a demo. And a demo, you could draw your finger on the screen to test all the vibration motors on this vest and on the gloves. So if I draw an A on the telephone, then I would feel an A on my body. Cool. So what can you use this for? Well, you can do this. Go skiing. You know, even though I couldn't drive anymore, because I drove truck, and on my spare time I drove a motorcycle, and I realized that I couldn't do that anymore. It was kind of negative with me driving on the road, but I could do things that I could continue, like this, that I have been doing since I was 2 years old in the same place in Austria. Finkenberg is the place. Here I go skiing with my son. We're using this on the arm, and they control me and steer me where I'm supposed to go and stop me so I don't hit anyone or kill anyone. You know, 100 kilos of Swede is nothing pleasant. Thank you. So, what does it mean? To technology, to digital world, we get freedom. This is freedom for me, to do things, to be independent, to do things, to be part of something, to share this with my son. That is so awesome. You know, when I ended up in this situation, I told you before, I complain a lot about Sweden. I do, and I take responsibility for that. But the society we live in today is not for everyone. The society that we live in today doesn't have the equal rights for everyone. It doesn't have the same opportunity because they prioritize money today and not people living a good life. That's the truth, sadly. And the first years, I fought like an idiot to get personal assistant. I fought like an idiot to get a guidance person, to get interpreters, to be a part of the society, to be one of you. But I didn't get it. And I fought, and I was so disappointed. And then I came to a point that I realized that this doesn't work. And a good thing with the life crisis that I got when I got my deafblindness is that you get creative. You find new ways. You have to find new ways from a very dark situation. So I was thinking, what can I do if this doesn't work to apply for these services? What can I do instead? Well, I need to spread knowledge. I need to make awareness about my situation and how it is today. So I started with a project called Deafblind Challenge. And this was the first one. Thank you. I really enjoy applause because it feels so good on my back. She's doing like this to tell you, and all that also laugh. So awesome. I will tell you a little bit more about what's happening behind me, but I would like to continue my lecture here now. Well, 2018, I got a very, very crazy idea that I should be the first person with deafblindness to go from Denmark to Sweden in a little kayak. And I did it. And you know what? I had only 6 times of practice before I went doing this. That is how my reality looks like when you don't get the right help. But I did it, and I'm so proud of it, and that started so much things in my life. First of all, it started the attention about these issues I'm talking about. Suddenly, national TV contacts me. Hey, do you want to be in a program called TV4 Nyhetsmorgon here in Sweden? It's a morning show. Hey, awesome. And then they contact me for next thing. And then, wow, awesome. And this adventure, this Deafblind Challenge, I continue with that and do a lot of different things. And the year after, I decided to be the first one to ride a tandem bike from the most northern part of Sweden, Treriksröset, down to Smygehus, the most southern part of Sweden. That is 2,400 kilometers on a bike saddle. That hurts, I can tell you. That hurts, thank you. And that went on to Swedish national TV also, TV series that I can't translate because it's so Swedish, the title, so we jump over that, we do that. So, the reason I'm doing this is to spread the words, to spread knowledge, and try to change the situation today. And that is so cool with these opportunities, because then we go back to the word opportunity. If I wouldn't be a part of the internet, to be a part of the digital technology that exists, I wouldn't be able to do this. Because thanks to the internet, I could find sponsors, I could talk about ideas, I could contact people, I could find new ways and ask, and find Google things like, how do I do this? Is it possible? And then it results is that I can actually do it in reality, physical. So that is an awesome thing about internet. I'm so grateful that I live today and not, as I said, I was born in 1890. So I'm really happy that I could be part of this society. But even though it's really, really tough in the society today, there are still opportunities and there are possibilities for me to try to do things, actually make this happen. Thank you. I could talk forever, especially now when I think, that, well, my English, okay, is bad, but it's going on. Well, something that is really, really awesome is something, I think you have heard it now, AI, artificial intelligence. And what I do think is awesome with that thing is that it has done so much cool thing for us with no eyesight. Vision interpreting. That is an awesome tool for vision interpreting. And I'm now going to show you an application that is for smartphones. That is so cool. It's not, I'm not sponsored by it, I will be clearly by it. But Be My Eyes is the app. And this is a cool thing, because from the beginning, it was only directed to people who have blindness. And it works like this. You have your smartphone and this application. And when you need to get visually explain what you have in front of you, you use the camera in this device. And then you can, for example, call a person. There are voluntarily people around the world that are sit and are ready to lift the telephone and say, hey, I see this to your camera. The flower on the grocery store is to the right. Awesome. To do that, then I realized something. I can use it also with my braille, because it has a function that I can take a photo. And when I take the photo, AI in the application explains what's on the picture and put it up on text. And then I can use my braille display and read it with my fingers. I can read what's on that. That's so awesome. You see a fruit team today. You see, as you see, there was a lot of fruits here today. Yeah, there are. And this is so awesome. This is a great example of how I can use digital accessibility today as to be a part of my everyday life. So cool. I often use this when I sit, maybe sit and waiting for the bus or something like that. And I'm thinking like, I feel a smell of someone's perfume here. And I feel it's kind of young person's smell. So I like put up the telephone and take the photo. And I take the photo and then read, oh, a young girl or young boy, oh, no problem. They're not going to rob me today. Right. Great. Awesome. So, so cool to use this. We're getting closer to the end of this lecture, okay? Keep awake a little bit more, thank you. There's a saying in Sweden called att lyfta varningens finger. To raise a warning finger, it sounds really funny in English, but I would like to say stop a little bit. Because when you have deafblindness, there's something really, really important that you never can escape from, that you actually need, whatever the reasons are. It's a human contact, the contact with another person or people. And as I told you today, it's a really strange society today. And the politician and people who decide if we get help or not are really, really in love and enjoy something called one-time cost. Do you understand what I mean? You need to pay only one time. Instead of giving me perhaps an assistant or a guiding person that will cost a salary every month all my life, instead it's much cheaper to give something technical. To give something like the application, that's free, the application, but you get the picture. If I give something technical, it's one time big cost, okay, but then we don't need to pay him or pay for him the rest of his life. It's much cheaper. That is a danger, for even though the technology is so amazing, a person with deafblindness still needs the contact of a human being. If we don't get that, we die inside. It's a terrible way to live and really, really horrible. Well, can't we combine these two things? Can't we take that great technology and this awesome helping aids and combine it with human hand? I think we can. And if we do that, I think we have a great future ahead. I really do. Because if we go back to freedom and independence, and the freedom part is so important. If I would like to do something, for example, I would like to buy a pair of shoes, okay? That time I want to buy this pair of Adidas shoes or something like that. I'm so tired, I don't want to go outside. I can book it online, okay? I can go into the store and buy it there and pay it and get it home. Perfect. The next time, I don't want to buy it on the internet. I want to go down to the store and try it and see if they are nice and good, okay? Then I need a guidance person. That choice, that possibility to decide of your own life, that is a human right. That is equality, and that is freedom, as I'm talking about. So I would like that you take this with you today. That we shall fight for the both things. We should continue this amazing work that these guys are doing with technology, and it's so amazing. But we can't forget that we still are human, and we need to fight for that part also, and make sure that everyone in society are included, because there are no such thing as there is no humans. The reason is we are all human beings. Now I'm getting tired, I realize. Now I'm getting tired. So gladly, it's the end of the lecture now. I will put up the last video here. It's something I would like to show you, okay? Because I have lied to you today. Now somebody in the audience thinking, I knew it. He can't be deafblind speaking so well. I knew it. Well, that's not what I'm lying about. I told you I didn't get the opportunity or possibility to drive a truck again. Okay? Do you remember that? Well, I lied. I can still drive a truck. I can still drive a truck. And here you see the amazing work of a human being, a deafblind interpreter, who is doing this as my interpreter here is doing now, something called social haptic communication. She's been doing exactly what's happening here in the audience. And on the video, the interpreter there is controlling me with body signs or social haptic communication to make sure that I don't kill anyone on the field there. And that situation, I can choose to either use one of the helping aids. I have this device as I have, that we can control me with the cell phone and doing this line, or just a human being directing me how to drive. Great. This is opportunity. This is freedom. And let's fight for it, because we all need to be human, even though if we don't have the same chances in life. Okay. If you're a little bit interested in this funny guy who's talking and being deafblind, well, you can find me on the internet. And please take a telephone, a smartphone, instead of, I don't care if it's a fruit company or something like that, and take a snap of this one, and you go directly to my places on the internet, where you can contact me if you have questions or want to know a little bit more how it is to have deafblindness. Thank you for all your patience. I hope you did understand. Either way, you can contact me and take it to Swedish also. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you.